So what is up, guys? Suda the Savage back, and I'm not happy right now. Not happy with a 27-21 loss to the New York Giants. This game was just so bad. Like, there were some positives in this game, but there were also a lot of negatives. Anyways, gonna get to a general recap of the game, individual player stats, and the final grades. Without further ado, let's get this video started. All right, so starting out with a general recap of the game. So to start it out, the Giants get first ball, and they go 3-and-out. So I'm thinking, okay, good start, good start. And then we follow up with a quick punt, so I'm not really happy about that. But then the Giants, they also follow up with a quick punt, so I'm pretty happy with that. And so then the Saints, we go on a very long drive. We get down to the New York Giants 29-yard line, and it's a 4th and 3. So I'm thinking, do I want to go for it, or do I just want to take the points? I was thinking maybe take the points when I saw Sean Payton said he was going to go for it. I'm like, okay, hope you have something good. HB tossed to Alvin Kamara, and he's short by about a yard. So I wasn't happy with that. The Giants, they drive down the field, get to the New Orleans 16, and Graham Gano missed the 35-yard field goal. So I'm thinking, okay, well, we need to score now. And the Saints, we go on a quick drive down the field, get to the Giants 40, and Aldrick Rosas lines up for the 58-yard field goal, which he ended up missing. So I'm thinking, all right, come on. It's just the defense has been strong so far, so let's see if we can force a turnover. Very first play, Daniel Jones goes deep for John Ross III. You're probably forgetting who he was. I'm pretty sure he was the 9th overall pick in the 2017 NFL Draft. Ran the fastest 40-yard dash with a 4.22, and he's been a complete bust as a player. Well, he got the touchdown. Funny thing, when he got tackled, he actually fumbled it into the end zone and recovered it. So the review, there was really no purpose of reviewing it because either way, it was going to be a touchdown, and it ended up being a touchdown. So then the Saints, we go on a super long drive, and we run out pretty much the whole clock. A lot of times during the drive, it was just like Jameis making a lot of short passes or just a lot of quick runs. So I'm thinking, come on, we need to take a risk. And then he finds Ty Montgomery for a 19-yard pass. I'm thinking, okay, Jameis is starting to throw a deep ball. Is this something new? And eventually we get to a 3rd and 6 at the Giants 15, and he finds Jawan Johnson in the end zone for a touchdown. So we're tied 7-7. The Giants, they get the ball, and they actually make it to about midfield, and then Daniel Jones goes for the Hail Mary, but it gets intercepted by Marcus Williams. I was happy with the interception, but I'm like, well, it's the Hail Mary. All right, so to start at the second half, Saints get the ball, and Jameis immediately skies out a 58-yard dot to Marquez Callaway. He actually got injured on the play, so I was a little bit nervous. I'm like, please come back. Then it only took us 3 plays to score a touchdown because Taysom Hill ran in for the 8-yard touchdown, broke many tackles. The Giants, they end up driving down the field, and they get to a 4th and goal at the Saints 5, and they end up kicking the field goal. So we're up 14-10, and eventually we get to the Giants 46, and Jameis Winston goes deep for Kenny Stills, hits him for the touchdown. Hold up, wait a minute. Holding on Adam Trautman. The touchdown is negated, 10-yard penalty, replay first down. So we get Taysom Hill. He tries to go deep for Deontay Harris, but it gets intercepted by James Bradbury. Now, the way that I saw this, so we had Deontay Harris, who looked like he was trying to run a post, and he tried to go straight up as if he was running a streak as opposed to a post, and that's really what screwed him over, and that's why James Bradbury was able to get the pick. So it was an awful decision made by Jameis Winston. No, not Jameis Winston, Taysom Hill. Surprisingly, Jameis Winston did well this game, but I'll get back to him later. The Giants, even though we got picked off, we forced them to punt, and then we go on another long drive where Taysom Hill runs in for an 8-yard touchdown. So we're up 21-10, and we force another Giants punt. So I'm thinking, okay, let's just run as much of the clock out as possible, maybe score some points, but main goal, run out the clock. We did not. We went 3-and-out. And then the Giants took 1 play to score a touchdown. It was a passing touchdown to Saquon Barkley. And the way that it went was that we had Saquon on the outside and Evan Ingram right next to him. Evan Ingram kind of threw off Marshawn Lattimore because Lattimore was on Barkley. So Ingram threw him off, and Lattimore was so focused on Ingram that Saquon just completely blazed by him, went for the deep pass, and it was a chase down to try to tackle Saquon Barkley, but we didn't. Giants get the 2-point conversion. Now we're up 21-18. We go on another really quick drive, and we end up punting. And I was just so upset because I'm thinking we needed to get some points. We didn't run off enough clock. So then the Giants, with what they had left, they go down the field. They kick the game-tying field goal. We go into overtime. and the Giants win the coin toss. Jabril Peppers, he was all like, yes, let's get the fucking ball. We want the fucking ball. And I was thinking, please be like a Matt Hasselbeck moment. If you don't remember, 2003 NFC wildcard game between the Green Bay Packers and Seattle Seahawks. Seahawks won the coin toss in overtime. Hasselbeck said, we want the ball, we're going to score, and he ended up throwing a pick six. But on this drive, the Giants tore down the field, and it ended with a 6-yard rushing touchdown to Saquon Barkley. Giants win 27-21.
What makes this loss so frustrating? Let me tell you. We were 8-point favorites. 8-point favorites to win this game. Every expert picked the Saints. In my survivor pool, 11 people were eliminated. 8 people took the Saints. 3 people took the Titans. But like when every expert picks you to win and you lose the way that we did, you know, the media is going to attack you. You're going to get completely thrashed on social media. Not as much as if you were to do that on like a primetime setting, but still, we can't be losing games like this on individual player stats.
All right, so on to individual player stats. Starting off with Jameis Winston. If you were thinking that he was going to be responsible for this loss, he was not. He threw for 226 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. Didn't get sacked once, so I was actually pretty impressed with that. He wasn't making any stupid decisions. I think he had at least 12 or 13 straight completions. He did well. It was his best game as a Saint, but that's not really saying much because he hasn't played that many games as a Saint, so it's a pretty small sample size. But he did well, and then Taysom Hill, he had 9 passing yards and a pick, but that was a super stupid pick. Anyways, lead rusher was Alvin Kamara for 120 yards. He did well, followed by Taysom Hill, 28 yards and 2 touchdowns. I like Taysom Hill as a Swiss Army knife, especially when it comes to rushing, but not as much in the passing game. Lead receiver was Marquez Callaway, had 2 receptions, 74 yards, even though one of them was a 58-yard bomb. Deontay Harris, 5 receptions, 52 yards. Ty Montgomery, 3 receptions, 42 yards. Taysom Hill, 2 receptions, 26 yards. Jawan Johnson, 2 receptions, 20 yards and a touchdown. And then Chris Hogan, 2 receptions, 15 yards. So what was super frustrating about this was that also there was no Alvin Kamara in the receiving game. Nothing from him. And what's super frustrating is that I feel like Saints fans, we forget how valuable Michael Thomas and Tre'Quan Smith are to this receiving corps. As much as a head case as Michael Thomas has been recently, we can't deny his talent and how he changes this receiving game. And Tre'Quan Smith, even though he's pretty inconsistent, he's a solid number 2 threat. Marquez Callaway, he's just not ready to be that number 1 or number 2. Maybe a number 2, but he's just not ready to be that number 1, even though I would always hype him up. He's just not that guy yet. Anyways, onto the defense. We were absolutely scorched by Daniel Jones. Now, the thing is, 15 of their points came from 2 drives that lasted 1 play. Other than that, they were limited to only 12 points. I mean, if we take out overtime, we kept them to 6 points in regulation if you take out the 2 times we got scorched. So honestly, the 2 burns that we got, the bomb to John Ross and the bomb to Saquon Barkley, those are just sticking points. So it really kind of brings down the value of how well this defense played today because outside the bombs, we did well. But, you know, but like I said, those bombs, they just stick out. And Sean Payton was not at his best today. He had a bad day. He had a lot of questionable calls with timeouts that he called, reviews, attempts to convert on 3rd and 4th down. Sean Payton was just simply outcoached by Joe Judge. And that's not really something that you want to do because you want to outcoach Joe Judge. Sean Payton is one of the best head coaches in the league, but with how this offense kind of slowly started to get back in its element, hopefully we can be better for next week. I mean, we're playing Washington. Their defense has just been absolutely terrible. So hopefully we can take advantage of that next week. But anyways, on to the Giants. Daniel Jones, holy shit, he did well. Threw for 402 yards, no touchdowns, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, although the pick was on a Hail Mary attempt when Marcus Williams just did his classic ball hawk. But honestly, excellent game played by Daniel Jones. Lead rusher was Saquon Barkley with 52 yards and a touchdown, but he also added it with 74 yards and a touchdown in the air. Daniel Jones also rushed for 27 yards and a 2-point conversion. Lead receiver was Kenny Golladay, 6 receptions, 116 yards. And Kadarius Toney, 6 receptions, 78 yards. So Kenny Golladay and Kadarius Toney were failing to live up to the hype that they were given in the preseason. Well, they lived up to it. They lived up to it against this Saints D. So excellent job to them. John Ross, 3 receptions, 77 yards and a touchdown. And Evan Ingram had 5 receptions for 27 yards. And he did have a lot of drops, but he was a big factor on the Saquon Barkley bomb. So I'll give him credit for that. The defense, you silenced the Saints for most of the first half outside of the one drive where we scored the touchdown. And sure, there were a couple of bombs that went against your favor, but ultimately you locked us down when you needed to, and you did well. I was impressed with the Giants' defense at the end and at the beginning. The middle patch in like the second and third quarter was really when they struggled, but it was a small patch because their defense was consistent throughout most of the game. Anyways, like I said, going into next week, we're going up against Washington. We need to abuse that defense if we want to be seen as contenders still. I mean, we can't be losing the New York Giants. Yeah. But Jameis Winston, he better be throwing for at least 300 yards and 3 touchdowns next week. I want to see more progress. You know, even if it's just a little bit more progress, even if it's 250 yards, progress is progress no matter what. Anyway, Saints, I'm going to give their offense a 6 out of 10 for today. And I'm going to give the defense a 7 out of 10. Despite the 2 times when we got burned, we played really well on defense outside those 2 times. But those 2 times is what really brings it down for me.
And for the New York Giants, I'm going to give their offense a 7 out of 10 for today. You know, I give them more props because they clutched up in overtime, and the 2 bombs that they had was just a huge reason on why they won. And I'm going to give their defense also a 7 out of 10 because they were able to silence the Saints when they needed to. You know, they silenced them for most of the first half, and they were able to silence them when they were down by 11. So excellent job to them. And hopefully the Saints, we can rebound next week against the football team. On to the end. That is going to wrap on my video for today. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Now, I know for a couple of segments you may have noticed that my voice wasn't as crispy. Well, my mic was having issues at a couple of points, so I just had to refilm those parts. Anyways, if you like this video, drop a like, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you want to see my week 3 predictions, box will be right over here. Comment down below your thoughts on this game. Make sure to follow me on Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok at BrennanSuter. Thank you all for watching. Have a great day. Who Dat Nation, with a brutal loss, is out.